What's up, everyone? Back for another beer review, and today is Wednesday, which of course means it's time for another Western New York Wednesday here on the channel. And the beer I'm reviewing today once again comes from the Big Ditch Brewing Company, and they're out of Buffalo, New York, and this is their Nog, the 2023 release. So they are calling this one a holiday-inspired ale with rum flavor, vanilla, and spices. It comes in at 7.4% alcohol by volume, 5 IBUs at the time of review. This can is exactly 2 weeks old. So we have here the newest winter seasonal release from Big Ditch, and I'm super excited for a couple different reasons. I love eggnog. So this is trying to replicate eggnog in a beer form, and I also love Christmas Vacation, which is one of my favorite Christmas movies. I don't know where it would place if I did rankings, but I would imagine it'd be in the top 3. And I just love everything about this beer, the theme. They also have a little spiel here on the back, which we'll read. It says, "It's a beaut. This is the jolliest ale you'll find this side of the nuthouse. Brewed with oats, milk sugar, aka lactose, nutmeg, vanilla, and rum flavoring, this ale is reminiscent of everyone's favorite holiday drink." So I love the fact that they reference one of the greatest scenes in the movie, and just in general, this is I just hope this is delicious. So we're gonna crack it open, get into hashtag proper glassware, and see what this one is all about. Now they did release this one last year, but only on draft, and I didn't get a chance to try it. So this year they decided to package it in cans. So here we are. Anyway, let's give it a pour, see what we got going on here. So again, love me some eggnog. I'm just hoping that this is eggnog without being over the top sweet. That's again what I go into a lot of these reviews without preconceived notions, but I do have things I want out of the beer. And I would say with this beer specifically, I don't want it to be overly sweet, because if I like it, I want to be able to drink a couple of them. Maybe not in the same day, but maybe just buy a 4-pack or 2 and drink on them over the course of the winter. We'll see. In the hashtag proper glassware, that looks nice. Does it look like eggnog? It does not. Does it look like a beer? It does. So give you a better look of this beer. It has this beautiful honey orange color. It's pretty murky, but I can see my shadow of my hand through the glass. Had about a finger of an off-white, soap sudsy looking head that is now dissipated to a thin film. Hold it up to the light. Yeah, there's definitely can see through it. Has this nice glow to it. Looks like there's some very fine particulates, but again, in the hashtag proper glassware. The Big Ditch glass, it looks good. Let's get a nose. So it's very reminiscent. So that's what they use, the word reminiscent, on the little write-up here on the can. And I would say in the nose, it's reminiscent of an eggnog with a splash of rum in it. Or maybe more than a splash of rum. It has that, typical rum spice. There's a little bit of nutmeg and cinnamon. Definitely strong vanilla. As I continue to smell it and let it open up in the glass, the eggnog's coming out a little bit more of an intense eggnog aroma. Yeah, I would say if you had a glass of egg, or if I had a glass of eggnog in front of me, and I poured like a shot or 2 of rum into it, and I smelled it, this wouldn't be that far off from that. It doesn't have what I would assume would be the intense sweetness. Again, you really can't smell sweetness, but like if you smell eggnog, it smells like it's going to be rich. This doesn't have necessarily a richness to it in the aroma. But yeah, I get the spices. I definitely get this vanilla, lactose kind of milky sensation, and then the rum. And the rum has, again, like a spirit kind of smell to it, but it's more about the spices, the rum spices. It smells pretty good. Let's get into it. Cheers, everyone. That, my friends, is pretty fucking good. Without question, they have done this. Here's what I'll say. There have been eggnog beers I've tried before that I've enjoyed. Most of the time, they're eggnog stouts or porters, darker beers. I'm not saying this is the first time I've ever had like an eggnog-inspired, like just generic ale, but I feel like it's tougher to kind of get that eggnog flavor into a beer that doesn't have a substantial base to it, that's just, something that's an ale, you know, like, or something that's like a blonde ale, all right? Because I feel like those flavors would dominate the base beer. So that's why a lot of breweries use porters and stouts and they'll do barrel aged variants and so on and so forth. They've done a pretty fucking good job here integrating it into a base beer without having, I think, a substantially great base here. And I'm not saying, I don't know what this base beer would taste like without all the adjuncts. But what I'm saying is I'm not getting a lot of the base beer. Those adjuncts are being propped up by the base beer. And a lot of times that's a miss. It's not a miss here. And I think after that first sip, I'm pretty happy with this one. It is a little bit sweet, but it's not cloying off that first sip. Like, I don't feel like this is going to be something that I'm like, oh, you know, a couple ounces in. Nice, really nice. Body, medium, higher side of medium, 7.4%. Might be a little thin, maybe a little bit thicker because it's supposed to be an eggnog beer. So I wish the body was maybe like higher side medium, lower side full. I don't know how you would necessarily get that in a 7.4% beer unless you're using some kind of puree or so much lactose is ridiculous and would make it too sweet. So I think the body's fine, makes it a little bit more drinkable, but I think I would like to see a little bit thicker. The mouthfeel. It's carbonated. It's like approaching moderately carbonated, but it is smooth and there is a nice creaminess here from the oats and the lactose. The taste. It's eggnog. It's eggnog with some rum in it. From front to back, you get, again, a little bit of that milkiness from the lactose and the vanillas, providing, again, a little bit of just like a flavor that, in my mind, it instantly is reminiscent of eggnog. There is, halfway through the palate, the spices hit. There's nutmeg, there's cinnamon. There's a little bit of your, you know, baking spices, your pumpkin pie spices, your winter warm spices, your rum spices. All of those hit about halfway, 2/3 of the way through the palate. Really nice. There is, you know, the finish, I'd say lean sweet. It's semi-dry, very mild bitterness, but this is definitely sweet. I will say this is a dessert beer. After having a couple sips of it, I will say it's a dessert beer. It's sweet. Is it overly sweet? I guess that'll depend on the person. I think I could drink a can of this, but I wouldn't want no more. So the drinkability is definitely not that great, but maybe a beer like this, you don't want a high drinkability. You just want to be one and done with it, enjoy it as a nightcap, or you're in the mood for some eggnog with some alcohol that you don't have to mix together. Maybe you don't want to actually, you know, drink an entire glass of eggnog, especially if you're lactose intolerant. The lactose in here will definitely not bother me as much as I drink an entire glass of eggnog. I'm getting a little bit of maybe from the hops, whatever the case may be, a little bit of like a candied orange peel too, which is nice. It's like underlying. The base beer also has this like doughy, biscuity kind of bready sensation to it. This is nice, 7.4%. I get a little bit of warming in the chest, nothing on the palate though. I will say this, stylistically, if you're saying, give me an eggnog ale, don't tell me what the base is, just call it a generic ale, and it has eggnog flavors with rum, of course. This is really fucking good, okay? I'd give this like a 4.5 out of 5 for what it's supposed to be. Personal preference, I'm gonna knock it down a bit. Why? It's definitely sweet. It's too much of one thing, and in this case, it's eggnog with rum in it, in a beer form. So this would be, I think in a perfect world, I think this is a little bit more than a flight beer for me. I'd want a little bit more than 4 or 5 ounces. But I don't think I want to drink the entire thing. I wish this was, here's the thing, I wish this was in 12-ounce cans. Because as is, I probably want to drink 8 to 12 ounces of this. So maybe a little less, but it's a fun fucking beer. I really do enjoy this. It's good. Man. Yeah, I'm going to drink the rest of this. It's going down. It's definitely going down. Anyway. The rating on Nog, the 2023 release from Big Ditch, absolutely no issues whatsoever, giving this a low 4.25 and go 4.2. I think that's where it lands for me. If it was a little less sweet and the drinkability was bumped up a bit from that aspect, and there was a better body and mouthfeel, this would probably get the aforementioned 4 or 5 or like a 4.4. I'm going to have to knock it down because of that, but truth be told, I'm really happy with this one. I mean, again, I'm probably going to keep the label just because the label is fucking fantastic. So yeah, I enjoy this one. Good job, a Big Ditch. Price point availability. On their website, $15.19 a 4-pack. At the bottle shop I picked this up from, it was $13.99 4-pack. A little bit cheaper. usually doesn't work like that. I don't know. So you're talking, you know, around 14, 15 bucks a 4-pack for something like this, 7.4%, different things going on. Yeah, pretty good. And availability, Big Ditch is typically New York State only. You can go to their website and they do ship within New York State, but I think recently they mentioned that they're getting outside the state. I think it's PA. Maybe PA and Ohio, one of the two. I'm pretty sure PA is getting them, if not, you know, soon, definitely next year. So be on the lookout for them if you're in a neighboring New York state to the south, whether it's Ohio or PA. But yeah, I mean, good stuff. Good stuff. So if you've had this one before, post in the comment section. Let me know what you thought about it. Another Western New York Wednesday in the books. Check back next Wednesday. I think I'm going to do one of those showcase beers, side by side of 2 beers from the Brickyard Brewing Company out of Lewiston, New York. They have 2 Buffalo Sabres tribute beers paying homage to certain individuals on the Sabres. And you guys know that I do enjoy the Buffalo Sabres. So I'm going to give those a review. Should be fun. Anyway, appreciate everybody stopping by for another beer review here on the Beer Patrol. To the next one. Cheers.